Alright, welcome back. It's been a little bit since I posted a video, but today let's take a look at adding an extra ball power-up to the scene so that you have something that you can actually collect that allows you to have more than just one ball in the scene, which makes it a bit more fun. So let's take a look at our project here. Just to review where we were last time, if I hit the play button here, I have the ball in the scene. As it's coming up here, I'll be able to show you everything. So I have the ball in the scene. I have a random number of blocks that are created at the top of the scene, square and triangle blocks. If I click and drag, I create a ball that bounces around, and when it hits the ground, then it generates a new row of blocks. And that row of blocks is always going to have one more health than the previous row. So if I go up here, it did one hit, so one damage. One hit, one damage. Now, there's no way for the game to end yet because the blocks can just go down for forever, and there's also no way to get extra balls, which is what makes games like BB-Tan or Balls or Charming Runes really, really fun. So let's take a look at adding those to the scene here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a just kind of a blank power-up. This is the prefab. So I'm going to go into my art here, and I'm going to go into my glass elements, and I'm going to pick I want one that looks different from the ball that I already have in this scene. Actually, what I can do is I'll just pull this in, and I want to set it next to my ball there just because I want to take a look at it. And I'm just going to zoom in, and I'm going to change the color on this. So I changed the other ball to make it black. I'm going to change this to make it, I don't know, it's a power up, so green doesn't look great against that background. Let's go with blue. And I'm going to rename this from what it was when I dragged it into the scene. I'm going to call it Extra Ball Power Up. Okay, now there's a few things I need to add to this. So if you're taking a look at the original game, as the ball hits the Extra Ball Power Up, the Extra Ball Power Up disappears, and it doesn't show up until the next time you launch your ball. So like say that you collect 3 power-ups on one turn, you don't get those 3 extra balls until the next turn. So what I want to do is I want to have something in the background that's keeping track of how many extra balls there are. I want to have something on this object that when my ball intersects with it, it goes away. And I also want to have something in the game manager where I'm spawning those bricks to also be spawning a ball every once in a while. Some of the games have you spawn an extra ball every level, some of them don't, so I'll leave that up to you. But for now, let's go to our extra ball power up here, and let's add a circle collider, 2D, and we're going to make this a trigger. Now, we also want this to be able to move, so we're going to add a rigid body, 2D. I'm going to set the gravity on this to 0 because I don't want it to be pulled down by gravity. And I'm going to set the collision detection from discrete to continuous, just to make sure that the ball doesn't ever have a chance to skip over it. If you have your collision detection on discrete, it's only checking a certain number of times per second, so I think it's like 30 times per second. And depending on how fast the ball's going, it could skip right over that object if you don't have your collision detection set to continuous. I don't need to worry about freezing the position or rotation, so I'll leave all that alone. And there we go. So now, over here in my assets folder, I'm going to go to my prefabs. I'm going to add my extra ball power up to that. So I'll just pull that right in. And as soon as you make it a prefab, you'll see that it'll turn blue in the hierarchy. Now I don't need this hanging out in the scene, so I'm just going to delete it from the scene, and since I have it set as a prefab, everything's fine. So let's start with having the game manager create some of these in addition to the extra blocks. So let's go to our scripts. Let's open up our game manager here in MonoDevelop, and let's take a look at how we can do that. It's actually not too bad to get it just to start spawning these in addition to everything else. So up here, where I've got my, let me zoom in here so you guys can see this better, maybe. There we go. Forgot to hit shift. Okay, so zoom in real close here. So here's where I have the objects that I'm kind of spawning into my scene. I'm going to add another one here. We're going to do public game object, and I'm going to call this extra ball power up. Save that. Now, because I made it public, that means that I have to assign it in the inspector. So that's fine. Now down here where I have start, what I'm going to do is zoom out a little bit so you guys can see this. Right now I have it choosing a number between 0 and 3. If it's 0, it instantiates a square brick. If it's 1, it instantiates a triangle brick. And if it's 2, it doesn't do anything, which is why we have some empty spaces there. I'm going to change this from going from 0 to 3 to 0 to 4. And I'm going to add another else if statement here. And to do this, I'm going to copy all of this and paste it down here as another else if statement. I think I need there we go. So I got 0, I got 1, and then let's say if it's 2, then I'm going to instantiate not the triangle brick, but the extra ball power up. Okay, so I'm going to save that. I'm going to hop back into Unity here, and I'm going to take a look at my game manager. It's going to check compile to see if I made any errors. I have a value that I assigned but didn't use. I'll fix that. So what I want to do here is I have this empty space here for the extra ball power up. So I'm going to go to my prefabs, grab my extra ball power up, and pull it right in there. Maybe, maybe not. There we go. Now if I hit play, I should be able to see the extra ball spawning sometimes. I get a bunch of them that time. We'll fix that later on so that there's no more than one per thing. There we go. So some extra balls. Now the next thing I want, let me just hit play again so you guys can see this. If I hit play, no balls that time. Let's do it again. All right. One time I had way too many balls and now I'm not getting, there we go. So these are set as triggers, which means that I'm not going to collide with them, but also nothing happens. So there's no collision that happens. So what I need to do is I need to make sure that there's a script attached to those that says that when I hit it, that the object itself disappears and does some other stuff. So let's go to scripts, and I'm going to create a C# script that I'm going to call add ball. Okay, and I'll open this up in MonoDevelop. All right, so for add ball here, what I mainly want to do is I'm going to focus down here on the bottom. I mainly want it to be listening for a collision between itself and the ball object. And when it collides with the ball object, I want it to do some stuff. So I'm going to fill out this code with a little bit of pseudocode first. So down here, because I set the ball collider to a trigger, the method I want to use is void onTriggerEnter. Because we're doing this in 2D, I have to add 2D. And I need to tell it the collider it's colliding with. So we'll do collider 2D, and I'm going to refer to whatever it's colliding with as other. Okay, so as it collides with stuff, as something enters the trigger zone, it's going to be calling this method. And then inside this method, I'm going to add a conditional statement. And my conditional statement here is going to be if other.gameObject.tag is equal to ball, which I think is the tag we put on the main ball. Let's hop back into Unity just to make sure. Main ball, yep, its tag right up here is ball, so we're good. So I'll hop back down here. If other.gameObject.tag is ball, then I'm going to add a little bit of pseudocode here, and I'm going to comment it out just by using those 2 slashes. I'm going to say do something, which I know is super general, but we'll come back to that. And then the last thing I wanted to do is to disable itself in the scene. So I'm going to do this.gameObject.setActive false. So I'm setting it inactive in the scene as soon as it collides with the ball. So save our code, jump back into Unity, let it compile for a second. And there we go. So here I'm going to hit play. And cool. So we got a ball right there. I'm going to aim right for it. Oh, I didn't add the script to it. All right, so let's go to our prefabs, extra ball power up, and our scripts. Let's add the add ball script to it. All right, cool. So now I'm going to hit play again. All right, so now, maybe, oh yeah, and it's, the brick mover script is having some trouble understanding exactly what's in it. So we'll get that in a second. So here, there, went away now. Cool. All right, so next time we'll fix this little error down here, and we'll also take a look at having it make it so that there's an actual extra ball that follows the main ball when we do our next turn. So thank you very much, and have a great day.